Do you think about leading retreats? Do you wish you were leading retreats in your business? Or maybe you lead retreats and you wish that they were better. Maybe they have deeper transformational work and shifts, or you make more money from those retreats. Or maybe you're running retreats and you wish you weren't so burned out from leading, running, marketing, all the things that it takes to run a retreat. So today I'm freshly back from leading 2 back-to-back retreats, and I wanted to share some wisdom with you that I think will help you with these very things and will help you look at retreats a little bit differently. So hello and welcome. I'm so glad you are here for the next episode of Joyful Business TV. I'm Laura West, host of your show. I'm also the CEO and intuitive business coach for Joyful Business at joyfulbusiness.com. And for over 20 years, I have been helping coaches, consultants, conscious business owners of all types really discover and claim their soul work. That deeper work, that great work that they feel like they just know they are here to do. I bet that describes you if you're here today. It's where you bring your gifts and your expertise, your what I call your beautiful brilliance together into your soul work so that you can go out and really make a difference in the world. And one of the things that I do with my clients is I help them liberate your power, your voice, your confidence, and that conviction, that deeper conviction, so that you show up with your authentic marketing style and you feel really good about sharing your work and you attract amazing clients, amazing opportunities over and over and over again. So this is, we're not talking about traditional marketing, right? We're not talking about a traditional way of running your business. So we're going to apply that to retreats today. It's not a traditional way of running your retreats. These are not information-packed training workshops in disguise. Retreats, transformational retreats, are where people go to really have, a transformational experience, right? That means they go from one thing and they transform, they move through it, they heal, to be able to find more access to themselves, more access to support from the universe, from, which sounds a little woo, but we're going to talk about that a little bit. So let me tell you, I'm just back. I led 2 back-to-back retreats at the oceanfront in a beautiful big home that I rented. And one was a standalone retreat that you could go, you could have an interview with me, personal consultation, and then come to the retreat. And it was all inclusive, all the food's included, you just have to get to the retreat. The second one was a culmination of a mastermind. So we've been together for 10 years, and this was a big retreat towards the end of the program. So everybody knew each other. So very different dynamics in these 2 retreats. I'm going to refer to that over and over again a little bit. This year, I've also been to 6 retreats myself, everything from Costa Rica, Guatemala, to Asheville, North Carolina, Yosemite. I'm a big believer in retreats. I go on retreats all the time. This year was a particularly intensive year where I was using retreats to really elevate internally so that I am ready for the expansion that's happening in my business. So we're going to weave that through the wisdom that I'm going to share with you today. I've led dozens of retreats over the years to help clients, create, and have helped clients create and market their own retreats. I've done retreats that are just individual, VIP day type retreats that are creative business retreats, small group retreats, to larger type retreats, to co-leading retreats. So I am a retreat fan, in case you can't get that. To me, it's on both ends, right? For you personally as a retreat leader, it is one of the best places for you to share your soul work and to create this experiential experience that is, it really is, and has the potential to be life-changing. And it is so much fun. And it is such a great way to put out your creative expression and get your work out there in this really deep, deep way and have people experience it in a way that they don't get from video modules and things like that. We love our video modules, right? There's a place and a time for that. Or like this TV show, right? There's a time and a place for that. But there is something about being in person, doing experiential type work and being with others and being in an environment that helps the transformation. As an attendee, that also is, there's nothing like it, right? There's nothing like it that helps you transform and heal and really peel away the layers of things that were getting in your way to get to that deeper heart's desire and to be able to make the change and the transformation that they're wanting. And it doesn't matter what your retreats are about. For me, mine all have a business piece to it. Everyone who comes to my retreats are wanting to put their soul work out in the world. I know people who lead retreats that are about yoga, animal communication, that are all about creating beautiful, healthy meals and learning to cook, learning to enjoy food in a deeper, more abundant way. So what I want to do, obviously share my passion with you about retreats, but what I want to do today is I want to share some wisdom, not the marketing strategies, not how to fill your retreats, and not even like how to design it from a how-to perspective. I'm going to share the wisdom, right? The wisdom that has been gained from 22 years of leading retreats and experiences, and even beyond when I used to do them in corporate. And a lot of this is behind the scenes, things that happen. Sometimes you don't, as an attendee, you don't even know that it's going on, and you may not even realize what's happening. So I'm going to share, I'm going to open it up and just start sharing some of my thoughts. So one of them, and this is where I start when I want to do a retreat, is I actually start with the environment. The environment absolutely matters. I can remember wanting to lead one of my first retreats when I started my business way back in the day. And I had been to other retreats and I didn't want to do it in a dark hotel room with no windows. No, thank you. I just knew intuitively that it mattered, that those retreats were okay, but that there was so much more that was possible just by having an environment that inspires you. So you want to find a place that inspires you, because when you're inspired, your energy is going to change. All sorts of things are going to be different. And then you want to share it, because as you share it, your enthusiasm, your soul tribe is going to get your enthusiasm, right? It's going to make a difference. And then when you are in that space, leading the environment, or leading in this beautiful, inspiring environment, it does a lot of the work for you. So let me give you some ideas. So I just led a retreat. I led many retreats in this particular, beautiful big house that's right on the ocean front. So there are expansive views of the horizon and the changing weather. We'll talk about that in a minute, how important the weather is. I've led them on retreat centers and mountaintops and near waterfalls, at boutique hotels, rather than the big commercial hotels, but at boutique hotels that offer something, they usually offer something different, right? They have this beauty or funkiness, right? That informs the experience. I have led retreats and co-led retreats in conscious communities that are built around farms. I'm thinking about one in Atlanta. And there were goats and donkeys and ley lines, right? Where there's energetic, where they pay attention to the energetics and how that informs the whole entire farm community that was also a retreat center. You can really let nature do a lot of the work. This year, I've been to retreats with the majestic mountains of Yosemite, which just are all inspiring, and you can't help but be moved in your body when that happens. Leading retreats with the vast ocean, crashing waves, or the beautiful calm and amazing sunlight sparkling off the water. Or one year we had the full moon that just rose right over the ocean, and then you could see the sparkling white path that led seemingly right to our house, right to where we were on the beach in the middle, not in the middle of the night, but in the evening when it was dark. Nature will do a lot of the work. It moves people. Being in trees, being around the ancient trees, being around stones, hiking to waterfalls, all sorts of things, just sitting in a meadow sitting on the deck watching dolphins play is huge, right? It does a lot of the work inside. It's not about you teaching and cramming more information. Okay, I'm really passionate about that, which is why so many people are wanting to go travel these days, right? They're wanting these kind of experiences with nature. A part of the environment is you want to pay attention to the weather and really use it, make adjustments to it, bring it into your retreat. So the 2 retreats that I just led, they were very different. And the weather was very different. So the first week, it was gray and overcast. It was super windy, 20, 25-mile-an-hour winds, crashing waves. This naturally brings up more of an internal and reflective state, right? Because the wind was so chilly, we stayed inside more. We weren't outside as much. And so that means the emotions and the energies, there's a lot going on in the house, right? And when you're in a house, even though everybody had private rooms, you're not escaping the energy as much, like where if you were in a hotel and everybody dispersed, right? So you have to pay attention to that so that you can, in that case, we slowed down. We changed the agenda and we slowed down and gave more time for everybody. We took a few more breaks. We needed more water and drinks, and we needed things like popcorn breaks, right? Things that just were unexpected and that people appreciated to help move some of the energy. So a lot of leading a successful retreat is about understanding the energy and what's going on in the group, and then being really connected to to be able to tap into your intuition. So that was, I did a lot in that first retreat of slowing down, revising my agenda, throwing things out, and giving more time to what we were doing here so that people had more time to integrate all of the emotions that were going on. The second retreat, which was in November, so you would have thought where we're at, it's like it would have been colder, but actually, oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was warm and sunny, and we got up to 70, 75 degrees, almost 80 degrees. It was warm enough to walk on the beach in the morning and watch the sunrise come right up over the edge of the water. That wakes things up in people. People get creative and want to take photos, and it got people up and moving. And it, again, we sat out on the deck a lot. And so that helped move the energy and have a place for people to go inside and be reflective when watching over the ocean and the horizon, but to not have to, they had more of an outlet where they could just naturally express it. They could go on walks by themselves, walks with each other. I even changed things up, and we did several of our coaching outside so that we could see the beautiful ocean and the clouds and the blue sky, right? That supported, especially the completion of that retreat, supported the possibilities that people were connected to. So retreats, you're probably getting this, but retreats are an opportunity to get your clients out of their normal routines, out of their comfort zones. This is why you really want to pay attention to the environment, to what's going on in the space. I find that the best retreat experiences, they have this blend of rest, relaxation, restoration, both with space and time, but also, and food, we'll talk about that too, but also with nature, as we were just talking about. So they have that, and that has increased since we've gone through, things with COVID and the pandemic. It's like people are needing more rest, more relaxation, more getting off of computer screens, just more being able to sink into themselves and rest their nervous system. At the same time, they also, with the best retreats, have this blend of unique experiences that really do take you to your edges, right? I've done a whole episode about going to your edges and expanding the idea of what's possible for you, whether it's hiking up a mountain, whether it is just feeling your heart expand as you look over this beautiful ocean. Beauty and abundance has a way of doing the work. So there's an arc in a retreat experience, especially a transformational retreat experience, where you create safety and connection at the beginning. Connection is so important. And the safety, like they know what the deal is and where things are, and you get that stuff out of the way. It's important to do at the beginning. Then you open up the connection to their vision and their possibilities, right? So it's like you're going up to this vision and possibilities. And then they identify where they get stuck, where they're holding back, where they might be sabotaging themselves, what gets in the way. And then you support them in breaking through, healing, releasing beliefs, transforming that pain or that doubt into treasured gold and possibilities, right? And this process, this transformational process, it releases pent up creative expression and personal power. So that's what's running through every transformational retreat. At least the good ones, right? So some of the ways that you can do that, either, in the vision, the beliefs, the releasing, the transformation, the embracing all new depths of your power and creativity, is to bring in things that are creative, that open up their creativity. I usually have some sort of art experiment, some sort of art that I bring into even my private retreats, but my group retreats. And there'll be all sorts of things. Sometimes it's something that we do inside where we're painting, doing intuitive painting on a canvas. We're creating a book that is all about their loving their soul. Those are just a couple of examples. One of the retreats this time, we went out to a place called Splash House, where they got to literally throw paint around and just be free and create, just for the sake of creating and experimenting and seeing what happens. And so things like that, where you can get them to create, to express, to do things that they wouldn't normally do. Again, that opens up, first of all, it brings in all the stuff that gives you a lot to work with. So it brings in all the blocks, the obstacles, the disempowering beliefs, the stories that they have about why they can't do whatever, and why they can't do the art thing is why they can't, in my case, grow their business, right? Why they can't put their soul work out there. Maybe for you, it's something else. And then you have this element of play, right? You create this friction, you bring up the friction, but then you have this element of play that brings up more possibilities, that gives them a shift in their thinking. So we use oracle cards. Again, we use the art. We use rituals and ceremony that we do on the beach at night. So there's a bit of play, there's creativity, and there's deep soul connection that you're doing through these retreats. And then there's always something you want to include that has them have where they can experience testing, going to their edges, right? Testing the edges. For me, going to Guatemala, that was just a whole test, and going to my edge all the time with the language, the currency, the making sure I was safe. It was just such a different experience. But for me, in the retreats that I just led, it was like going out to the beach at night, with the wind and the cold or the breeze, or just being out at night, by the wild waves. And doing things that encourage people to let go, to dance, to be silly, to laugh, to have some sort of ritual of releasing. I'm not giving you all the details of like how to run your retreat, but I'm giving you the essence of where you want to start looking to create an amazing retreat experience. All right, I've got several more I want to share before our time is done. But another one is food, right? When you learn about retreats, lots of times I just talk about the food and the practicalities of that, and that's very important. But you've also got to know that food nurtures food, and food is part of the experience that they get. And so if it's just, what do you want to order in for lunch? And you order in for lunch, that's like a business meeting. Here's your plastic container of, your styrofoam container of lunch, right? But food like nurtures, it can create beauty and abundance. It nourishes our bodies. So having wonderful food, and it doesn't have to be expensive. There's all different ways, from co-creating a meal together, to having it catered, to having a personal in-service chef, to having an assistant who helps create. And you can do simple things. Like I mentioned, the surprising afternoon treats like popsicles or popcorn. We brought in these really fun, beautiful buntinis, little mini bunt cakes, that some of them were gluten-free, so they can be healthy too. But it's food is just nourishment. And so for them to feel like to know the food is taken care of and for it to be an experience, they just love that. And I always bring in like for the dinners, candles and things that are unexpected, where they really feel like they're being treated and that they're treating themselves really well. One of the retreats I was at, we even had like morning elixirs prepared by I forgot what his name was, but he's like a plantologist, right? And he knows healthy medicine with food. And they were intentional. They brought forward certain aspects related to that journey that we were on, that we were going through each day. All right. So as you get like these transformational retreats, when you bring in nature, pay attention to the weather, pay attention to the space, the environment, that there's a lot of emotions that can be brought up. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're doing cooking classes, I can tell you from personal experience, a cooking class brings up all my emotions because it's not my easy thing to do. It's not my creative expression. And so I get tense, I get anxious, right? And so chances are people are at your retreat, it's to create something, they've got big dreams. So a lot of the bringing up the big dreams with the majestic mountains or the goats and donkeys or the play, the creativity, the art, the, all these things, the emotions are going to come up with it. And so you want to be able to make sure that you're paying attention to that, but also that you can manage that, and that you are connected to yourself, connected to the space, and connected to what I like to call that higher power, right? Source energy, because you can bring in source energy to help create in the space. There's so many things I want to say, so I'm hesitating because it's like, oh my gosh, I just want to tell you like everything about running retreats. That's what I do with my private clients. So what I want to say is that energy management is incredibly, incredibly important for you, for your own energy management. So before the retreat, during the retreat, and then after the retreat. So I know a lot of people who get sick after the retreat, and I'm not talking COVID sick, right? I'm, infectious disease sick, although that happens if your immunity is down, that can certainly happen. But just talking about being worn out. When there's a lot of emotions in the space, when you're doing transformational work, you want to have really good energy management practices. You got to make sure that you are getting good sleep, that you're not the one who is bringing out all the wine and things like that. That's a party. That's not a retreat. I'm not saying you can't have wine at a retreat, but to me, it's like being intentional and being conscious about it, because your energy matters and you're setting an example for the space and the community. And so you want people to really take good care of themselves as well. So you want to set that example. So making sure you get really great sleep, you're paying attention to your physical energy, your own emotional energy. It's really helpful to have somebody on speed dial or have an assistant or a co-leader or somebody that you can check in with to say, hey, I'm feeling something in the space. What are you experiencing? Or for somebody to say, remind you, you're getting tired, you need to go to sleep, or make sure that you're eating, you're drinking enough water and things like that. They seem like little things, but they are huge when you are leading events. It is a commitment that you need to make to yourself to make sure you have a successful event. All right. We've just got a couple more minutes here. So a couple other things I want to share is another reason it's really important for energy management is because I'm always constantly listening to what's going on in the space and redesigning in the moment, keeping the basic through line of what I want to have happen in the experience, but redesigning the amount of time that people need, shortening it, making it longer, taking breaks, rearranging because maybe there was more emotions in the space, or maybe it was an opportunity to go really deep with my coaching and things like that. So you want to, you're always going to have too much. Well, I wouldn't say always, I don't know your style, but most of my clients and myself, we always have too much that we want to accomplish in a retreat. And then you have to look for how can I scale back? And so each night I would look at that, write down a few ideas. And then in the morning, I would ask for inspiration. And then I would always have like the design for the day. It felt like a download every day. It's just like, okay, here's what we need to do. Here's what my opening is going to be for the morning. Here's what needs to happen in order for this transformation, everybody to have their own experiences and healing experiences, so that they get to this place at the end where they have excavated more personal power, more confidence, more creativity. All right. I have so much more that I could share, but I want to wrap it up for today. Thank you for being here today and listening to this episode. And if you're interested in learning more about retreats, come check things out over at joyfulbusiness.com and let's have a conversation. All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching this episode of Joyful Business TV. I want to invite you to get more creative strategies and support for growing your business. You can start right now by activating your abundance mindset with a really powerful creative visualization that will help you get into the universal abundance current, one of my favorite things to do. And you'll also get a companion 7-day journal that will help you create a daily habit of co-creating with the universe. These are 2 powerful resources that you can get started right now to help grow your business and activate that abundant mindset. You just go over to activateabundancegift.com.